Ladies and gentlemen, today I am super hyped up because I've got Crystal with me for the series Investing at 25. Crystal is an NFT artist herself. She has helped so many artists across the world to onboard and come into this new space called the metaverse. Some of us are still living under the rock, and Crystal is here to help us get out of it. So, Crystal, I'm going to give it back to you. We've met through an NFT, like a blockchain event, which was Paris Blockchain Week. It was in April, right?
It sure was.
Oh yes, my God. It was. I swear, I loved the energy so much. And on top of that, you bring that knowledge and everything else. So it's like the perfect layers. And I was like, oh my God, when I started this, I was like, I need to talk to Crystal no matter what. So thank you so much for your time. But I would love to know more about you, how your background, how you got started, Web 2 to Web 3. What even is Web 3?
But my name is Crystal. I am originally from Atlanta, Georgia, which is where I'm now at my mama's house. But I was always someone who was interested in the world. So I lived in Europe until I was 4 or 5 and moved back here and then just kept going back and forth and just wanted to meet different people. So I've kind of always had that community spirit, which is perfect for Web3. I'll get to that in a little bit. I studied French and economics at Spelman College in Atlanta. I worked on Wall Street. Wall Street for...
I did not know that.
Yeah, many people don't. I worked on Wall Street for a little while. Absolutely hated it. Hated it. I had the knowledge, but I did not have that same... lack of work of social ethics that they lacked, you know, and I couldn't be that sharp that they wanted me to be, with the exception, I must say, of one company, Morgan Stanley. They were great to me, but I worked at multiple Wall Street companies. But I always had an interest in the arts as well, because I come from a musical family, a huge family. I've got 19 aunts and uncles, I think so. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. And just, you know, multiple cousins and stuff, but a lot of them work in the music business and a lot of them work in finance. So I kind of grew up, and the military. So I kind of grew up with those 3 things, you know, so like the strictness of the military and, you know, like having things in order and being on time and planning things out and finance and then the arts. And so exactly. And so I auditioned for a show. Well, my cousin put my name down for a TV show in 1999 called Pop Stars. I kept going further and further and further, and I made it to LA and spent a little while in LA with the top-notch coaches of like the biggest names out there: Michael Jackson, Celine Dion, Prince. Like all of these people were coaching us, and I just got a taste of what it was like to work with such high-level people in the arts. And I just literally left like my little stint at one of the unnamed Wall Street places, and I was taking a break. You know, I wasn't chosen. I made it to the last 20 girls, I think, out of thousands, and it was a girls band at the time of 5, so I did pretty well. But then I was like, there's no way in hell I can go back to Wall Street. I don't care if I was making more money than my family at the time, my parents, you know what I mean? It wasn't worth it. So I got a Fulbright from my school to kind of stall and go back to France and teach conversational English. So I started teaching conversational English through the arts to high school students. And then I just extended that. And
wait, but I would love to know, what do you mean by teaching conversational English through art?
Description called for teachers to, like myself, who couldn't explain the grammar. I don't know why the hell we say this and, you know, what this is, the predicate of this. I don't know, but I can speak English. You know what I mean? And I can convey that to people, and my love of music and all of that stuff to people. It's easier for students to learn, I think, when they're having fun and they're not just like there with their teacher with their invisible ruler on their hand saying, no, this is the subject, this is the verb. So I could combine English. Obviously, I spoke it. I can combine the arts. And so I just created my own little thing at these 2 high schools. It was so much fun. And I was like, okay, this gives me the opportunity to work on my music as well with my then really good friend who's my husband, who's been my husband for like over 20 years now, that I had met.
Congratulations, you guys.
Thank you. We're such an old couple. Neither one of us wanted to get married, and here we are. And so we started making music during my downtime because I only had a requirement of 12 hours a week to teach conversational English. And so from there, I started putting together kind of like my business sense with the music sense, with the advantage of living in France, which is that they support culture. If you have enough hours, you get, as a documented musician, you know, not singing in a bar for beer. I did that too. But you know, if you have enough hours that are actually declared, you can get a monthly stipend to help you to live if you are having a hard month or whatever. But you basically get that for a year every time you have, you know. So it allowed me and my husband to travel the world, to make a first album, to meet people. And so basically what I started doing was walking up in places saying, oh, I can do that. I didn't know what the hell I was doing half the time. They needed a hip hop dance teacher for something. And I was like, I can do that. Hip hop, I don't know. And I was literally like looking at music videos from MTV trying to learn the routine. And I lasted a year and a half. And then they needed a coach on this film set because there were quite a few lines in English for a very well-known French actors. So I ended up doing that. And from there, I ended up making music as well for a lot of French films, just because I was always like, I don't know, what's the worst thing that could happen? Like literally to me, and I hate to say this, I had lived the worst by working on Wall Street, you know, by being under pressure as like a 20-year-old, by being yelled at and all this other stuff. I was in France where people were literally sipping on the same coffee in the cafe for like 6 hours and nobody gave a shit, you know what I mean? So I was like, what's the worst that could happen? From there, I started making contacts.
That mindset though. Honestly, it's a really good mindset to have. It allows you to do new things, right? Like what's the
worst that could happen? Exactly. And every time usually when I asked for these things or tried different things, the answer was yes, or it led me to something even better. And so then I got to be the coach for the Caesar Awards, which is a huge honor. You know, here it's like Oscars, you know, in America. And so I started meeting various like people that I really respected. I don't use the term idols because I don't idolize anybody, and I don't fangirl out for very many people at all. And I'm just, it's not that it's gross, but it's gross. I'm like, whatever. They literally, you know, every now and then get diarrhea like we do. Like, who cares? You know what I mean? What the hell?
I love that.
So, you know, it is what it is. And so just being myself, I'd say, kind of led me to where I am. And from there,
I am honestly not surprised. I am so not surprised when you say that. I love your energy and the way you think. Oh, it's amazing.
Oh, thank you. You are so sweet. But same. Hey, same. We found each other, and then we ended up at the food truck. But
we were just having that beetroot soup.
I was thinking about that beetroot soup, girl. That was good. It was great. But and
soup I've had.
It was really good. I can't wait for them to, you know, make it to the masses.
True.
Or just drop it off to my house because that was good.
We need to find that guy.
We need to find that guy. I was looking for his card. I can't find it, but I did take a picture because I knew I'd lose the card, like I always do.
True.
I had to find it.
Yep.
But from there, like I spread my wings. So I was doing things that were in film, in series, working with a lot of French artists, doing voiceovers for commercials like Moët et Chandon, or you know, just evil shade, just different things for your, you know, like, because it was an adventure for me. It was also a good lesson in how to be disciplined because I didn't have a boss. I was my own boss. So if I chose not to get up and sit on my butt all day, that's on me. You know what I mean? But, and then as an artist, we have those down periods where there's not much. And because you've worked on set for 6 months or you've worked on an album for whatever. And I used that time to create other projects, to create musicals with friends. I created a group called American Artists in Paris, and we would meet monthly. And so you had film directors, you had photographers, you had writers, singers, actors. And it was also like a landing ground for people. It extended to Anglophones. It wasn't just Americans, but when people needed advice on how to find an apartment, you know, oh, guess what? I heard they're having a casting call for this, you know. So we would do that on a monthly basis. And that was amazing. And that lasted for about 7 years. And then we all really got busy. And then I was on tour for 3 years with a pretty big French artist. And then I was pregnant on tour like this with my twins. And so I just couldn't keep those meetings up, but we're still all very good friends, and we've all gone on to do a pretty cool thing. And so then I co-founded an association, a musical association, a choir association. And my brother, who is Rafiki in The Lion King, he's my brother in my heart, named Jua. He's the choir director of multiple choirs, and we have few choirs together of like 100 people and 60 people, and and he has choirs in Israel and in the south of France, and I am the artistic director, and we whipped them into shape, girl, and we made it to Carnegie Hall. And so we performed at Carnegie Hall, and so we had all of these milestones, and it was amazing. And then boom, the pandemic hits, right? And so being us, we don't ever let anything take us down. We're like, okay, we are in an industry where we have to be physically present, but how the hell are we going to turn this around? Because number one, we're not giving up on the arts. And number two, we do have to eat. Let's just be real. So we flipped that, and we had, I can't remember the name of the service that we used, but basically you could meet online with several people, but it's impossible to sing online because of the delay. So we just gave master classes. We sent the music. We had special guests, and that lasted. And we used that time to work on music for the choir, like compositions that we would present to them later. This was all done online. I was meeting up regularly with the choir director because we lived pretty close. And I was spraying him down. I was like, you're not sharing that gift with me. You know what I mean?
2 meters apart.
But so then around that same time, he starts talking to me about crypto. And this was like 2.5 years ago. And I had heard the term from a few family members. And I was like, I still don't know about that. That's something that sounds a little sketchy. But whatever's were tingling. And I was like, I got to check this out. So I started, and I also wanted to follow him because he can be a DJ. And I have to follow him and make sure he's not trying to like sell his house or something. So, you know what I mean? Like for something crazy. He knows. I'm like, you've got the not the angel and the devil, but not far. I'm literally like, be careful. So I started really, really diving deep into it about 2.5 years ago because I was watching after him. But then I quickly put that to the side and I started day trading. I was way into it. I was like, okay, I was following all the charts. I was listening to like my favorite financial like crypto gurus for like 3-4 hours a day. I was heavy into it. But then after a while, I was like, okay, this is great, but this is not where it's at. And I happened to stumble upon something called NFTs. And I was just like, what in the hell? And when I really started
for the people who do not understand the terms degen.
Oh, right. I'm sorry.
NFTs. Do you want to maybe break it down just a little bit for those still living under the rock?
Okay. Well, let's what's the first term? A degen?
Degen.
Okay, that depends on who you ask. In my world, a degen is somebody that goes all in, and like for real all in. And I've had those degen moments. Hence, like the 100 or something NFTs. I'll define that after that I should not have in my wallet. But it's like you dive headfirst into something without even thinking about it. And 9 times out of 10, that might not be the greatest decision to make. And so every now and then we call each other degens. Like if we're like, oh my God, did you see that? Did you pick this up? Did you research it? No, not really, but just grab it before somebody else. Something might come out of it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of unfortunate degen behavior, but fortunately we've kept it, pretty to a very small amount. But it's also because of that behavior of my day trading where I was getting way too pulled in and I was winning, if you will, in the beginning, but then I started really losing my initial investment because I was trying to look at the white papers, the description, if you will, the roadmap of what every project, what every coin was planning to do and how it was going to revolutionize this space. I felt hard and I was trying to project. I did it way too much and I became a degen. And so I put that to the side because it gave me heart palpitations. And then I was like thinking to myself, maybe I've only done it a little bit. But then when I looked at my transactions, because you can trace all of that. That's the great thing. You can trace every last, transaction. True. I was like, who did that when I was asleep? Oh, that was me. Oh God, you may need to stop. So
but I think it's that sort of a mindset that you just get in, right?
You just get in.
Exactly.
You just get in, it's like a moving crowd. You just get in. You don't know where they're going, but you got to go. And so you do have to really be careful of that. And with hindsight, I've learned so much. Let me also say that in this space, it's said a lot that even a month in this space really feels like a year or longer or whatever. Stuff moves and changes and evolves so quickly. It's almost like getting a crash course in such a small amount of time. So I never missed a day. Like I rarely get sick, but I think I got a little sick and I was still still there, like trying to figure out what was happening. You know, you can't miss it. And so but it was passion. I'm thinking in French, it was a passion of mine. It really became a passion. I put the degen behavior to the side,
Right.
and I entered the non-fungible token world, the NFT space. Basically, when I grasped, it took me a little while to grasp that an NFT was not art, because at the time, what we were seeing, the use case we were seeing was in the form of art. But when I understood that what it was basically digital ownership on the blockchain, you know, that can't be altered, it can't be, you know, faked or anything, and it's for all to see. And it's a very fair and just system and way of documenting things and showing that, hey, she owns that, you know, that house, or hey, that's her driver's license. You know, it's an original piece only, contrary to a fungible token, which, you know, we can use the idea of money. For example, a dollar will always equate to a dollar, a Bitcoin to a Bitcoin. So the fungible tokens are not unique and they're directly exchangeable. Non-fungible tokens are unique. You can't exchange them, you can't barter them, and they are on the blockchain, and they are that digital certificate that says that, you know, this was created at this time, and it has all of the information you need written out on what we call the blockchain in a beautiful smart contract. So basically, I can't go in and Donald Trump it up and lie, you know what I mean, and say, this is what happened, and this is, you know, because it's there. So I can, if I need to go see what's in your wallet or what you've been doing, you know, I can do that.
That's true. That's actually so true. Think about it now. Like, people are a little conservative, you know, about how much they have, what they have. But I think in Web3, like, you can literally access anyone's wallet.
But when I had a really big collector pick up one of my pieces on Known Origin, I saw the wallet that they used, and I was like, let me just go see. You know, I'm not usually the nosy type, but let me just see.
Yeah.
And I looked, and I almost passed out. I was like, he could buy like 7 nations with this. This is crazy. This is crazy, but I could see it. You know what I mean? I quickly closed it because it was a little depressing. I was like, wow, well, you know, but it was an honor to have my piece in their wallet. But anyways,
that is amazing.
And let me just back it up and say, since I am in Atlanta, Georgia, which has its own history, south of the US, lots of racism back in the day and today. Well, I'm going to speak about the outskirts of Atlanta, because Atlanta itself, the population is mostly Black mayors, mostly Black police officers, et cetera, et cetera. But when you step on the outsides or outskirts, like where I'm at in the country, like 20 minutes outside, it's a little bit of a different story. And one of my Spelman sisters, who is so intelligent, was running for a position in Georgia, governor, a few years back. And I, as a double citizen, I can vote. I can vote for French officials. I can vote for American officials. Best of both worlds. And I always exercise that right to vote, you know. And so when I saw that she was up against a guy that is, I just spare you his history, his racist history, and his family's racist legacy, and her intellect against his, we knew that, you know, she had to be in office. Long story short, I sent in my ballot, because you have to fill it out by hand, and you have to check on the outside, like whether you're Democrat or Republican, which I find ridiculous. A whole different, it's crazy. I had it FedExed, so you can trace that, right? And the person has to sign for it. So I did that twice, because every time I checked the status, it showed up as not received. And I said, that's a lie. I got the FedEx paper saying somebody signed for it, not received, not received. Well, it came out later on that there were a lot of fishy practices. They found some votes behind a trash can. People, when they found out it was for my Spelman sister, they threw it away. And so this guy won by a small amount. He didn't win. That could have been prevented if it were if traceable on the blockchain. And I cannot wait until we get to that. Do you know what I mean? That's just a little bit of a sidebar, a little bit of a tangent. But when I started reading about Web3, blockchain, NFTs, it just clicked. I was like, all of the things that we could do with that, and how it make things so much more of a fair playing ground, the field for everybody. And so, just to back up, I switched from crypto to hardcore NFTs, and I started jumping in clubhouses and Discords. a lot. And all of a sudden I started moving up as a moderator in Discord because like you can see, I talk a lot.
I love that. I love that.
And we were all finding our way because it's brand new. You're making your own rules. That's what I loved as well.
Very, very
and so
true.
and so in January of 2021, I founded an Instagram page called Black NFT Creators. And I did that because the thing that I did notice a lot was that there were a lot of artists of the African diaspora, so from around the world, that were not receiving the same recognition as like their white male NFT counterparts, or, or artist counterparts. And I was like, this is crazy. So I just literally opened up a page and said, I'm here to give advice or highlight art from around the Black diaspora. If anybody is interested, just send me your stuff. And it just kind of blew up. And so then I started working as an ambassador of inclusion with Known Origin, which was my favorite. Well, before that with OpenSea.
Right.
And then these are all platforms, everybody, where you can sell your digital art, your NFTs, if you will. And OpenSea is the biggest. And Known Origin was my favorite because it was a smaller, more sort of family knit environment. And you had to send in an application. They had to review it, versus OpenSea, where anybody can upload anything. And so I started working closely with Known Origin to onboard people, and they would bypass the whole application process because I would just onboard them. And that was great too. And from there, I started putting out my own artwork, which was not music. I wanted to challenge myself and put out not abstract, but a mix of my photos, my film, and music, and see what I could do as a personal artistic challenge, because I figured, well, we can do anything we want, and I'm not commissioned. Like, I'm not working in somebody's studio where I have to make a song that sounds like a fake Rihanna or whatever and sit in the corner hating it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I can do what I want. If it sells, it sells, fine, But
so you uploaded these NFTs on Known Origin?
I started with, I want to say Rarible, which is another one, and then OpenSea, and then I applied. I saw that Known Origin was accepting applications, and they hadn't been for a while. But I thought, well, I might not be the best, but let's just apply. And I wrote my bio, and I sent them like 3 or 4 pieces. And then when they announced who was accepted, my name was up there. I was like, wait, what? That's me, y'all. That's me. Especially because in my Discord, I felt bad because I saw a few people that are, like pure, they were traditional artists, painters and illustrators, and they did not get accepted. And I was like, what is happening? And now they have been like, they're fine, but after another blew my mind. When people asked me to lead spaces, when people asked me to counsel them, to curate, I started curating exhibitions. I started showing my art like in Hong Kong and Rome. And then I became a member of the council that got to hold the first ever NFT exhibition at the Venice Biennale, which is historic. You know what I mean? I could not believe that either. It just, it showed me that we are all really carving out our space. And if we want to learn, it's there. And we can do what we want to do, because before, it's like, especially in my day and age, not in yours, darling, but in my day and age, it was like, you go to school, you get good grades, you get your college degree, and you get a really good job. You get health insurance.
To be honest, it's still in my day.
It's still the same. It's still okay. Okay.
So I wasn't throw in that Web3 knowledge so we can pull some more people to this side of the world.
Yes. Listen, to me, okay, the world is crazy and a little bit shitty at times right now, but this is one of the best times to get in there for everybody. So for younger people, or for people that freaking hate their jobs, that are older and that are looking to just, because we're all creating this space right now. It's unfolding in front of our eyes. And it reminds me a tad bit of Web 1. So just to bring it back, I was 12 years old, I think. And the first family in our, on our block to have a computer with internet. And I remember sitting on my neighbor's porch, and she's like, oh, that'll never work, this internet thing. I remember having to turn on my computer. It would dial up. You'd be like, I would go get popcorn. I had a long time. I could walk the dog, came back, and then all of a sudden, World Wide Web, www, World Wide Web. And you could literally like search 2 or 3 things, but it was
Mhm.
exciting. And I remember asking my dad to install a program that would teach me how to type, because at the time nobody knew how to really type. And so it was a game. It was kind of like a Pac-Man type game where I had to type faster and faster, which is why I type super fast to this day. And that's one of the things I used to type his papers. I used to type your papers, husband. That's how you got those good grades. And one of my Spelman sisters reminded me that I typed her thesis. She had like 100 and something pages.
Are you
And
kidding
she
me?
was working. I did not remember. She said she was working at a job all while going to school, and she saw me. We saw each other on campus, and I didn't know her very well. And I said, "You look stressed. Do you need help?" I had already finished mine, and she was like, "I got to do this, and I got to do this, and I got to apply to grad school." And I was like, "Bring it to my room. I will clean it up." She said, "You cleaned up my paper and you typed it. It was like 90 or 100 pages." I don't even remember that. I just remember her being stressed, and she has an amazing job.
Fucking amazing. I love you so much. I swear to God.
Oh, you're sweet.
Amazing.
But that was nothing. That was honestly nothing. And people have done some amazing things for me too, as well. So I can't, I think it attracts that as well.
It really does. It really,
And
really does.
yeah.
But yeah, you were telling me about the ambassador of inclusion, right? So I would want to know more about how you progressed into you are a holder of the World of Women, right?
Yeah.
So going from the World Wide Web,
right.
the World of Women.
Yeah.
Well, from being a shark on the Wall Street to a whale in the NFT world. Tell me.
That's good. Wait a second. I may have to quote you on that. I love that.
I love that.
I love that so much. But so yeah, World Wide Web. I haven't said that in years. Where I was
like the World Wide Web, and I'm like, World Wide
Web. Right. Exactly. And then I remember I remember Yahoo, which came, and and MapQuest and all of these things. But and so it was exciting, but you couldn't do much with it. And then Web 2 came, and it was like revolutionary. And I used to listen to this guy back in the day named Gary V. And I've been following Gary V for a long time, way before he was shouting from the rooftops that we needed to be in NFTs. I was just there with him, like, you got it.
Shout out.
Gary, I love you. I got 24 of your books in there.
Wow.
Yeah, girl. Yeah. I only needed one, but that was to get the NFTs. Very smart. But yeah, so Web 1 to Web 2, where I was doing my Instagram thing, Web 2, we can actually put information in there, create our own websites. Mine looked a little crazy, but you could create your own websites. You've got all the social media, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all this other stuff, but it's very centralized. And if that thing goes down, boom, the lights go off at Facebook. It goes off with all your information, all of your Aunt Marvel's information too. You know what I mean? Yep. Bye, Auntie, because that's who's on Facebook. Anyways, I love Facebook, and I love all my aunties on Facebook. And then Web 3 is great because you control all of that. You know what I mean? It's decentralized. You can do whatever you want.
Exactly. The people.
Exactly. So, which is why I kind of trying to figure out what a lot of these Web 2 social media sites are trying to do, but whatever, we'll see. We'll feel them out. But how did I get to all of these amazing projects, notably World of Women? And so again, being in all of these groups, I was in this group called the NFT Hype Squad that just we pushed each other's stuff. Like we motivated each other every day. We were in that chat. We joined what was called a DAO, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing in a DAO. I was like, what is this DAO? This DAO thing, and I was like, oh, this is where we can put our collective. Well, it depends on how you join your DAO, but at the time, we all put in a little bit of money, and then we would use the collective pot to purchase pieces, and we would all own a share, and we would make decisions and things like that together. But I didn't really know what was going on. They told me to do it. I was like, okay, fine. I did it. And they bought some of my stuff. So the DAO owns, some of my pieces. They're in their vault. And then I joined NFT Goddesses, and in NFT Goddesses, started by Anna Isabel, who's like an amazing godmother of Web3, and who just pushes women in Web3. Like she puts us in the cloud. She is amazing. And she asked me to join. I said, yes. And there was this lovely lady in there named Yam. And Yam was like, we got this project coming out called World of Women. I loved Yam stuff. I was like, I love your stuff. Okay, I'll support. Fine.
Oh
And
my
so
God. I was actually listening to one of her interviews the other day, and I was like, oh my God, like seriously.
Yeah, yes. And she's just, I don't know. I can't say enough about Yam and her work and her work ethic, and the little that I know about her background, and how she was a hardworking artist prior to that. And then just this thing just kind of blew up. But anyways, so I was literally like on a farm in the south of France with no reception. And I was like, I want to support, I want to get a World of Women. And I also want to buy a long necky lady by this 13-year-old NFT superstar named Nyla. Love her. And so then I told my husband, I was like, I'm going to go try to walk around and see if I can get some 4G or something. So I minted 2 long necky ladies, and it went through. And then I tried to mint a few World of Women because they were cheap. They were very cheap.
At that time, wait, okay, when are we talking about? What time?
The day it came out. The day it came out. Because in the group, you got to remember, in NFT Goddesses.
You remember the price when it came out?
It was $107. That's all I know.
Are you kidding?
I paid because I was like, that's why I didn't mint the second one, because I was like, shoot. I just bought some stupid ass dogs or something. I don't even know what I bought. Now I don't have any money. Okay, I have enough for one World of Women. I bought the long necky ladies, which I love. Everybody check out Nyla Hayes as well. And I think I had like, I don't know, $150, the equivalent in Ethereum in my wallet. And then when you added on the fees, which weren't as crazy as they got to be later on, it was enough. And I kept thinking to myself, I'll just add a little more money when I get my paycheck, and I'll just buy a few more like next week. Didn't think twice about it. They sold out. The next day I was like, shit, to my husband. I was like, oh, this thing sold out really fast. And then all of a sudden it just grew and grew and grew. And we were so proud, of her, of the team, because it was a team effort as well. And she, they all got together, the co-founders, and did a wonderful thing. And I don't think that they knew it was going to blow up like that. Just like Nyla, Long Necky Ladies, I don't think, maybe she didn't know it was going to blow up like that. And it's very, very well deserved. And from there, I noticed that my good friend Ina was also rocking the NFTs. And I was like, girl, you know about NFTs? And she's like, oh yeah. I was like, you got a World of Women too? She's like, yeah. And then she's like, oh, Code Green is I'm head of philanthropy at World of Women, and Code Green is working with World of Women. And so I was just like, this is phenomenal. And then from there, we just started communicating not about music, because I knew Ina from music, she's like, of the many hats she wears, of course, activist, artist, photographer, badass mama, film director.
I'm honestly hoping and praying that Ina says yes to one of our, episodes, because I would love to get to know more about her as well, honestly.
Oh, she would. You would love her. You would love her so much. She would. And then of course she's a singer, right? And that we sang together. That's how I knew her from years ago. And I'm just going to be honest, and I'm so grateful. I had a lot of offers to work in various companies, corporations, and things like that in Web3. Because like I said, everybody, it's not that I was more qualified. It's just that I was there. I was showing up. I was doing the research. I was talking to people. It's very important to talk to people in your own way. Even if you're like an introvert, you can type it out. You know what I mean? Yep. If you're like me and you like to talk, I was hosting spaces. I love doing that. Yes. But that came natural to me as an artist, as someone who's always in front of people anyways. It's fine. But I totally get it for those people who are like, oh, hell no, I have to speak. You don't have to. You can write it out. You can make a video and post it. You can do it, but being present is what counts more than having that beautiful resume that says you did this in, 2015, whatever. So that's what's going to get you far in Web3. And I think
it's such a good point that you're mentioning this, because most of our experiences in Web2 will not really matter in Web3.
They won't carry over. No, they won't carry over at all. It looks great back in the day. You can time travel and try to do something back then. You like that one, don't you? Imagine a 12-year-old girl, when it opened up on the screen, girl, I was like, wow. And I didn't know what the hell was happening, but something was happening. But even then, I could feel as a 12-year-old that something was going to happen. And look, the internet took over. And my neighbor was like, this is never going to happen. You want some pie? And I was like, I think there's something there. And I had that same feeling when I dug deep into what Web3 was or was trying to be, because this is 2.5 years ago. And so when Ina approached me and she was like, would you like to be a part of Code Green? We think that it would be a great fit. And I was like walking around Paris with my kids, and I was like, hold up, kids. Wait, mommy needs to take a seat. Because, I was not, like I said, I had some amazing offers.
Yep.
But I had to really consider it because I'm also a singer, and that's my first love. I'm also, in the arts physically, in IRL, in real life, if you will, which I think is a very awkward term, but because I think that this is also in real life, but I do physically have to go and sit with the choirs or do my master classes. So I have to be very careful about what I choose.
Very true.
In the Web3 space, because I could have just been content with hosting Twitter spaces or being an ambassador of various things, because it is what it is. But when she said that, it just was like, ding, I've always loved her mission prior to entering the Web3 space.
Right.
She is the real deal. You know what I mean?
Wow,
And she also has that creative sense that we share. All of the pieces of the puzzle fit to where I just was like, oh, hell yeah. And I love it as well because it's a challenge for me, because I'm not doing what I was doing in the other groups. I am the project manager. I have to be organized as hell. You know what I mean? And I am very organized. Like I've got a thing for this, and I try to make it work and try to make sure that everything, comes together for the team. And it's a different role for me, but it really works well because I can do it from anywhere. I was in Greece 2 weeks ago in the mountainside.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, family trip, France, girl.
I'm loving this. Oh my God.
French people have like 15,000 weeks of vacation, which means my kids do. I don't necessarily. So I brought the same ring light that I got here. I brought like my 2 computers. I brought my ledger, I brought my workbooks, and I was working. The kids, I could see them. They were with dad on the beach. And I was having an amazing meeting with, in an amazing environment. You know what I mean? And here's the other thing. I, as an artist, I have been fortunate to work with some very well-known people around the world, but it took years of experience to get to that. But in 1 second, one flash in Web3, I find myself sitting in meetings or talking to people that I probably never would have been able to approach. And I'm just like, this is almost surreal. Okay, let's get to business. So blah, 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 but Web3 affords you that opportunity. It's like when I jumped on a Twitter space and I talked to Snoop Dogg and his dad and his son. And like I said earlier in part 1, I don't have idols and I don't fangirl out, but Snoop Dogg represents a part of my life, a particular point in time in my life when I was wearing these weird funky hairstyles and these clothes and stuff, banging, listen to his music with the CD that I put in my car. There is that moment where you're like, this is surreal. Because I hopped on a Twitter space. I saw he opened up a Twitter space. He had just purchased A World of Women. Right. And so he was also announcing that Death Row Records was going to be an NFT label. So he wanted to have a space talking about both of those things. And so he wanted to talk to someone that knew something about World of Women. And I was like, hey. And so I walked into the bedroom. My husband's a huge fan of Snoop. I said, watch this, I'm gonna talk to Snoop. And he knows I'm crazy. So he was kind of like half believing it. Like, what is my crazy ass wife doing? He's very quiet. Makes for a great balance. And he was like, I kind of believe her because she's crazy, but at the same time, this is Snoop, no way. Next thing I know, I put him on the speakerphone, and he has this very distinct voice. So you can't fake a Snoop voice. So I talked to him, and my husband's eyes were like this big, and he was just
I can't even imagine.
It's great. And so then his son DM'd me. It's like, hey, I'm adding you. Let's follow each other and all this other stuff. Because, he's huge in the NFT space as well. But those are things that, may have never happened. Like I've always had like 1 degree of separation from people like him because I'm in the industry. That doesn't mean you're going to be able to talk to them. You know what I mean? And not only talk to them, share with them, share your insight, and really have it be on the same level where you don't have people thinking that they're higher than you or that you're higher than whatever. And that's what I love about this space as well. Because there are endless possibilities.
Very, very true. One last question. Any advice for people who are just getting started? I know that Code Green, shout out, is coming up with a series about Web3 for beginners. So I am going to be sharing everything possible from my side, honestly.
Thank you so much.
I really want people to learn more about this stuff.
Yes.
Especially a special shout out to those living under the rock. All the SpongeBobs out there.
So my kids are watching right now. Yeah.
I love SpongeBob. So everybody who does not really know about the space, I feel like honestly it's the right time to get in. For anybody who has the capacity to spend money to invest right now, maybe it's not the right time because everything is dipping. It's really hard to catch that dip, you know, and you know it
Yeah.
better than me as a day trader. So any advice for people who are just getting started?
Yes. First of all, thank you for spreading the good word, because that is our point and purpose, is to bring people into this space and to do it in a fun way, a digestible way, and where they're not like, oh God, oh shit, what's happening? You know, like, oh, these terms are crazy. Yeah. And we're doing it with an Unstoppable Bunny, who is also a moderator. He's our community manager, but he's a moderator and cybersecurity expert. He does these things for World of Women as well. So we share that in common. And my advice would really be to dive in. The extra hours you have, learn these terms, learn what they mean, connect with people, and really connect with people. Do not go into people's DMs trying to sell them something or trying to sell whatever. Have a real connection with people first. You don't even have to ask them. If you're on LinkedIn, you don't have to ask for them to connect. First of all, you can just follow them, comment, stuff like that, and then make it organic, make it happen naturally. If you're on Twitter, if you prefer Twitter, if you prefer Twitter, then, you know, comment and make it real and authentic, because we can see, everybody can see when it's fake. If you have questions, ask those questions. If you are brave enough to these spaces, please make your voice be heard. And for those of you who don't speak English natively, don't let that stop you. Nobody's there judging people's English, and we can work it out. I've had people in spaces even DM me questions and I've answered them, or, you know, they've done their best to ask the questions and we've made it work, because if you don't ask the questions, you'll never know. So basically, because you can create your own Web3 destiny, dive in head first. Watch those YouTube. They have YouTube videos that say, you know, NFTs explained by a 5-year-old. Things like that. You know what I mean?
So true.
And they're very good. You don't have to go and watch the 2-hour lectures that, you know, are just as boring as watching paint dry, or it's just too freaking, like, it's torture, or you think it's above your head. I have so many extremely intelligent friends that went on to get their PhDs, and they're like, oh my God, I don't understand this Web3 thing. I'm like, you just like made a portal, a time machine or whatever. I'm just making that shit up. Yet you don't want to, you know, so make it easily digestible for you, even if it's just 30 minutes a day or an hour a day, or whatever you have, 15 minutes, go and learn about things, you know, really, and subscribe to people that you vibe with, people that post regularly. That way they can keep you in the loop about the updates, because things do change so fast, and you want to keep up with that terminology. But there's no better time than the present to get into Web3, because pretty soon we won't even be using really the term Web3 or NFTs or all this stuff. It's just going to be a normal everyday thing. You know what I mean? When you go to buy this, it's actually going to be an NFT. You just don't know it's an NFT. That's where we're going. So if you want to jump in on that now, that's what you need to be doing. You need to be informing yourself. Again, go at your own pace. You don't have to be like me. I was like, oh God, let me 7 hours a day. Let me feed the kids, you know, okay, let me get back to this. But that was because I was passionate about it. And because I felt like it was the second coming, like in web, you know, I was there for Web 1. Web 2, I missed the boat because I was on Instagram a little bit. I got my little 5,000 followers on Facebook, but I didn't take advantage of it. You know what I mean? And I was not about to miss this boat of Web3. And so that's what I did. And that is my suggestion to you all.
Well, you're not on the boat right now. You're on the yacht club. Shout out to all the apes out there.
Just thinking that. I missed that damn boat too. How's about? I saw it go across my screen.
Real, I swear. To be very honest, I feel like you got on the right one. Really honestly got on the right one. No jokes. Like, you know, people be commenting about the yachts and the apes and the Kongs. And seriously, I feel like with you, I have definitely seen that when you get in a project, it's because of a purpose. It's because you see a purpose and you see this mission that connects you both. You know, and that's what it's supposed to do. You shouldn't get in it just aimlessly and be like, okay, let's just
don't degen.
Exactly. No degening here. We don't do that. But last question, Crystal.
Yes.
Are you ready? Oh my God, I have loved this so much, honestly. Okay.
Me too.
What is one thing people in their 20s or anyone in general, more focused on the 20s because, you know,
Yes, yes, I'm there with you, girl.
Amazing. So what should they invest their time in?
If I'd say anything, I'd say community. I am a community builder, be
Nice.
it locally,
Mm-hmm.
internationally, virtually. I
Right.
think there's no better thing to do, especially in these days and ages where people sometimes can be all about themselves,
Yep.
leaving behind other people. I don't think there's anything better than to build community. You
I
can't
love
do
that.
anything by yourself anyways. You know what I mean? And why the hell would you want to? Why
Mhm.
would you want to be up on that mountaintop with that golden chateau,
Yep.
golden toilet all by yourself? It's much better to have the whole community up there with you. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's what I've always done, you know, and I've always surrounded myself with people that wanted to do that as well. And that's what really helped me, I think.
I love that so much. Oh, okay. What should they invest their money in? Let's go with
Ah, okay. What should they invest? Well, you know, I obviously want to say code green.
that.
And here's the thing. Okay, money, I'm just going to go towards, I'm going to be specific and go towards the NFT space. I'm not even going to touch the crypto space. That's a whole different discussion. If you want to invest in Bitcoin or Ethereum, that's fine. I'm not going to do that. There are videos that explain that very well. But as far as NFTs, which is what I know, I do think that, okay, if you have the funds, I think it could be good to go towards the world of women ecosphere in whatever capacity you can,
Okay.
because they're doing pretty big things.
Mhm.
I would also say my BFF, which I picked up another one because
I saw that right before this interview. I'm like,
listen,
I love that.
listen, they were revolutionary in that they started off with giving information to everybody. They held beautiful YouTube lives, just giving out knowledge, golden knowledge. They weren't looking for anything. And then they gave away these bracelets, these BFF bracelets. I got one. It was airdropped. And that's those bracelets. Like I had offers of 1 ETH, and at the time, ETH was like 3 or 4 grand. And something kept telling me, I know, Crystal, I know this looks great to take that money, but there's something to this. Nobody's done this. And they took their time. They didn't just rush and put out a collection. They took their time. And now I was able to mint my NFT for free. I keep the bracelet because the bracelet opens you up to their ecosphere. It's amazing. And they have a perks shop to redeem different things regularly. I just think that it is genuine, and they really do believe in the mission that they put forth. So I would say World of Women is one option. My BFF is another option. As you notice, these are all women-led. I have a thing for women-led projects, and they all promote diversity. So I love that as well. And of course, Code Green. I can't say too much. I can just say that when you have an entity, an organization that is run by people that have been doing the work, that are not just saying, buy my NFT and you get, and I plant a tree in your honor, you know, because it's cool. When you look at those people's history and you see that they truly are who they say they are, and they believe in it, and you can see the proof in what they've done for other NFT projects. I exactly. I think that's something worth investing in.
Very
and all I can say is we've got some really amazing projects, initiatives coming. You saw that, or maybe you didn't, but we partnered with the Sandbox. And there will be water that will be provided for a person for the rest of their lives. Every time an NFT, like I will let you dig into that. But there are real use cases behind that, real utility. And it's you know, it really is a long-term thing that we're looking to do, just like the other ones that I cited that are amazing, run by strong people, run by people who believe in it and who are not just trying to grab your money. Because like I said, if you look in my wallet, girl, there's some things I wish I could hide. Actually, I'll go hide some of them today. You know, those people, they came out with a beautiful roadmap and they've disappeared. You know, and
very true. Very true.
And yeah, so that's where I would say
I got one NFT, and it was, I think, I don't even know how much that was. It was really like, you know, I think my first NFT or something. I was just dipping toes. I got it, and then I still have it because one, I never knew how to sell NFTs. The ones that I have, I'm like,
Yeah.
how do I give it to someone now?
Right, right,
You
right.
know? Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, am I going to be sitting with it for the rest of my life? And then exactly like you mentioned, you know, I talk to the people and they're hosting these conferences and events and stuff. And I'm like, okay, so at least do the holders get an invite for free, or do we get a discount? And nothing. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I'm like, what the hell? Seriously.
And that's the
yeah.
thing. It's like you can't be too careful with your research, because there were a few times that I invested in projects where they had like big name people, and they held these spaces, and they talked about, we're going to do this, and we're going to create a whole cartoon series, and you're going to get free merch, and you're going to do this, and events, and they are gone. They have taken that money and they've left the space. So they're not trying to build a long-term brand, you know what I mean, and something that works for and with the community. They weren't trying to do that. So I think it's very clear when people are trying to do that. So I would advise people to go towards those projects.
Very true.
I feel like you can't go wrong. You can either like participate in a contest, or you could enter your wallet and have the wallet be chosen. There are multiple occasions, and if you don't have that because you're like, oh, I was at work when, you know, they had that contest or whatever, you can really be present and keep participating, and maybe you will be called in to be a moderator, or you'll be called in to be a community manager. It's not like walking the path towards a volcano or something. It's much easier than that. It really does go back to what I said earlier about participating and being present. And again, things are shifting, and we see those people that are active. We see those people that believe in the project. And from there, all I can say is good things usually happen.
Very true.
So
you know what I'm gonna do? I pledge to myself and to you, Crystal, even though with a little bit of knowledge that I have of the Web3, the metaverse, and the cryptos and the NFTs, I will be devoting at least 30 minutes every day.
Oh,
like the series can help more people join that little bit of a 30-minute community, because why not, right? And then, you know, jump in with all that advice and all that knowledge, and, you know, bring in that whole community spirit. I love that.
And I love that you are making that pledge, because that is for you, my dear. You're going to see that even 30 minutes a day is going to change your world. You're going to know exactly what's happening. You're going to find opportunities. It's like those little golden nuggets.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see where you're going to go.
Ooh, you're going to be the first to know. No, for sure. I swear to God. For me, like, it's very, very important. You know, the vibe and the energy.
Yeah.
It's super, super important. I can hardly relate to people who, you know, sometimes have made it in their industries and done everything that the world expects them to be, as, you know, to reach that level of success. Success. But for me, like, I need to connect, you know, like you said,
I'm the same way.
Community and that spirit and the whole, I love it. I love it so much. So much.
You're gonna save yourself a lot of disappointment and heartache just by doing that.
I love that so much. One last, sorry, I forgot. So what should they invest their energy in?
That's a good question. It's funny you ask, because for me, it's still always the same thing. Do you know what I mean? It's in people. It's in people.
I love that.
No matter, I mean, I feel like you can ask me various questions and it's still gonna come back to that same thing.
I love that.
That has been a game changer. I've always done that though. Again, I was never better than when I was with people. I'm not saying that to knock people that feel good alone, because I do definitely need my own alone time between my twins and the hundreds of people that I see in the choirs and the NFT events. I do appreciate my downtime.
And honestly, if I can share one more thing, sometimes people who are, you know, like bring in that spirit to every room that they walk in, like you, they need more of a downtime than others, because you are giving away energy, right? So
completely.
Recharge.
Completely.
Go back into solitude, get to know yourself again, recharge,
You said it.
and get back out there. So I completely
You're
I completely
a very wise one. You are a very wise one.
Don't say
You
that.
are absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But yeah, that would be where I would invest my energy. But with the right people. I'm not telling you to go out and be everybody's savior either. You know what I mean? You find your tribe, you connect, find your common mission and all of that stuff. And grow together.
Tribe, Crystal. You are my tribe. No, for real. I love you so much.
I love you too, my dear.
Oh my God. I have no words. I love it so much. Thank you so much for this.
You are welcome. Thanks for thinking of me.
Of course. I mean, honestly, no jokes, but the second we met, and I think we bumped twice, or at least
we did.
The same day, like the same hour, and we're like, I'll see you again.
Exactly.
We knew, both of us knew, and I'm so glad that we're getting a chance to talk to each other again, and I'm sure it's not a one-off. So I know
not at all.
Yep.
Yes.
I guess. But thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, my dear.
Have a really good day. And thank you to your little cousin for,
letting me use your
his bedroom. So thank you. And
thank you too.
Cheering you on from the sides. And I will definitely work on that pledge as well.
Thank you so much. I'm so proud.
Thanks so much.
Take care. Bye, my dear.